Mi Burrito Sabanero, key of C. Your left hand will be in the key of C to begin with. Your right hand will be in the key of C. The C chord is a 1 chord because you're in the key of C. The F chord is a 4 chord. 4 makes you on F. Do, fa, la. Or like this if you can't reach it all. G7 is a 5/7, so fa, ti. And then you're going to have some additional chords on the second page, which we'll worry about when we get there. Your first 3 notes are pickup notes, so you really shouldn't play that chord there. So 1, 2, day, do, okay? Or 1, 2, and 3, 4 is how it starts. You've got some dotted quarter notes, so remember they're longer. And you've got a few rests and some ties. So when it says Belen in the second measure, the second line, you see that E, it's tied. So you only play it at the beginning. Okay, let's give it a try. 1, 2. Swing your finger over. There's a repeat sign there. You can decide. It's a pretty long song, so if you don't want to go back and play all of that again, you don't have to. Okay, so now we're at, right after the repeat sign, page, well, it says page 20. It's measure 16, 17, 18. This is where the left hand starts doing some other things. So an E chord would be a 1 chord in the key of E. So if you move your left hand up to where E is and play a 1 chord in E, that's what it's going to be. So E, G sharp, B. Okay. Then you have an A minor chord. A minor chord, if you're going to move your whole hand, you'd have to move it down to this A. A minor chord is A, C, E. Now, I'm not sure I would do it that way. I think I might. Okay, so I had a 1 chord, and then I had an E chord, and then I have an A minor. You could actually go A, E, C. You could do that instead of moving your hand all the way back down to the A. I'll leave that up to you. I think that's what I would do. So I would play 1 chord C, E chord, A minor. Then at measure 22, you have a D chord, so that's a 1 chord in D, so it would be D, F sharp A. And then you have a G chord. You will have to move your hand, I would anyway, down here. So a G chord would be G, B, D, a 1 chord in G. Okay, so let me just do the whole progression with my left hand, the way I would do it. So I'm starting at the C chord at the middle of the first line of the second page. E chord, A minor chord, E chord, A minor chord, D chord, G chord, back to D chord, back to G chord, back to E chord, A minor, E chord, A minor, and now you're back to normal chords. F is your 5/7, your 4 chord in C, and then 1 chord in C, 5/7 chord in C, and C. The rhythm is also tricky on this part. So you've got, starting at where it said tuki, 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 tu, okay, right after the repeat sign, you've got 1, 2, and dun, 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 dun. So do, do, day, day, do, day, do, day, day, do, day, do. So you tie that one, those E's where you see those ties. And then I guess that's the only really tricky part on the rhythm. All right, so I'm going to start right after the repeat sign with the whole thing. So here we go. Rest, rest. Rest. Stretch down for that B. Swing. Then you're going to move your hand back up. Rest. Now you're back to normal chords.